Hello and welcome back. Today we are on day 10, which is Hope of Inktober 2020. My name's Helen and this is my channel, HelenJoy Creates. Very welcome. So for this particular prompt, I fairly much knew straight away what I wanted to do. It's quite a simple design, but it expresses for me what hope, true hope really is. So I decided to draw a cross because as a Christian, for me, my greatest hope is that through faith in Jesus that I will receive eternal life to be with him forever, because his death paid for the sins that I deserve to be punished for, but he was punished in my place, for which I am forever grateful to him. And so I wanted to represent that in the sketch for today. I really wanted the cross shape to kind of represent two things. Firstly, I wanted it to be kind of quite chunky and I guess real, sort of very sort of wood and heavy and almost ugly, if that makes sense. Just in the sense that death is not a good or nice thing, and particularly crucifixion. But I also wanted it to have a beauty and an elegance about it, and so I did attempt to try and cover that a bit with the way I did the top of the cross. It didn't work out exactly as I hoped, but the idea was to kind of give it a look of a crown, as well as slightly heart shaped. I was originally going to do a mixture of some drawing, like a vine and flowers around the cross, but then decided I would just do some ink stamping instead. So the general concept I wanted was to have a kind of crown wreath in the centre part with the word hope, and then just to have some vines and flowers growing up the cross, just representing new life and birth, and I guess ultimately eternal life as that final hope that I have. To decorate the cross, I used my Stampin'up products, and the ink colours that I used were Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, Poppy Parade, Mossy, Meadow, Granny Apple Green and Pear, Pizzazz. And then the stamp sets that I used Elements from His Love, So Much Love, Framed for You and Leave a Little Sparkle. But some of them I literally just used one small element from them. So I began with His Love and just used their hope sentiment, and I used the colour Mossy Meadow and stamped that in the centre of my cross. I double stamped it just to give a shadow type effect on the word. Then from the Framed for You set, I used the fern leaf, and later on I used the other leaves as well. And I started with the Pear Pizzazz colour. I just used my pencil to roughly map out where I wanted to put the leaves so that they would form a wreath type shape to represent the crown of thorns that was placed on Jesus' head. Did a bit of double stamping just so that you get that darker and lighter colour, just to give it a bit of depth. I then decided I wanted it to be a little bit lightened up, so added some Granny Apple Green to it as well. I then used the other leaf shape from the Framed For You set to create my vine that is going to be growing up and around the cross. So I used a mixture of mossy meadow, granny apple green and pear pizzazz for that. Just to give it a little bit of dimension and interest, I guess. To try and balance it out a bit, as you can see, I kind of did an alternate step on the other side from the light and dark, so that your eye kind of follows it up on either side where the darker colour is. So this was the mossy meadow, which is quite dark. It's almost a browny green, really. The camera isn't picking it up so well. I think on the camera it looks slightly more brown, but it does have a green tinge to it. I then thought I would use the Poppy Parade colour with the little flower from Framed For You, just to represent Jesus' blood. So I put those in the hand position and the feet position, but also just felt that I needed to add a little bit more up the cross just to make sure that I followed that path. I felt like it needed another little something, so decided to add these little stars from Leave a Little Sparkle. Though once I put the first one down, I wasn't that happy with it. So I think I did it in Mango Melody, and I think I had forgotten that the stars were hollow and not solid colour. So, oh no, that was Daffodil, wasn't it? Yeah, I used the Daffodil Delight, sorry. But as you'll see later, I then added on top of it to change it a bit. So I remembered that in my So Much Love set, we've got these little sort of splattery dots, and thought actually they would look better. So I think this is then when I used the Mango Melody just to add on top of the stars, almost to cover them up or sort of colour them in a little bit, and just add a little bit more around the whole drawing. I then felt that the wreath was a bit too dark and blended in too much, so used the fern again with the Daffodil Delight just to add a bit of brightness to it in the hope that it would maybe stand out a little better. Not knowing when to stop, I also decided I would add a few more leaves up and down the cross. So did that, and again I wanted to lighten it up a little bit. I think the mossy meadow was just a bit too dark, so used the granny apple green again just to try and lighten it up a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching this process and that it gives you some ideas for things that you can do with your stamps. Please remember to give me a thumbs up, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.